Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about my first trip to the Philippines. I kind of wanted to break this video up into three categories: food, shopping, and experiences. And I want to talk about these in a more objective manner from the perspective of somebody who travels rather than my personal feelings about being in the homeland or the motherland for the first time and just all of the kind of personal feelings that comes with that. So let's get started. For the first category, we're going to talk about food. As a whole, the Philippines does food so well, and I would say across the board, on average, everything was at least an 8.5 out of 10 or higher. That's just how strongly I believe in how good the food was. I'm not picky when it comes to what I eat, but I am picky when saying that things are really good. Like, I don't just say anything is good just for the sake of saying that it tastes good. I wanted to kind of highlight some of the more memorable dishes that I had. The first being this mentaiko salmon carbonara from Hoshino Coffee, which I think is a chain in the Philippines. It's a Japanese kind of diner aesthetic. It was at least a 9.5. That's almost perfect. Honestly, the only thing I was lacking with it was that I wish they had more salmon, but overall this dish was so good. And this restaurant in general was also really good. They had tonkatsu, they had a bunch of drinks, a bunch of different sodas, and coffee, of course. That was just something that stuck out to me. I will never forget the taste of that pasta. It was the perfect amount of flavor, umami, the textures. The pasta was cooked al dente. It was perfect. Like, I had no notes and I went to eat that pasta twice. So that tells you how much I really liked that pasta. Outside of that, I was actually really surprised to find that there are a lot of Japanese restaurants in the Philippines, more than you would think. I would say majority, over half that I saw were Japanese restaurants. So the Filipino people love Japanese food, it seems. And I had a ton of sushi, beef gyudon bowls, and just a lot of Japanese restaurants in general. And I would say that price point wise, all of them were so price friendly for people with like US dollars. And I got a lot of food for what I paid for. But if I had to recommend you one, it would be the mentaiko salmon carbonara. In addition, I would say, of course, if you're going to the Philippines, you should try Filipino food. I myself love Filipino food. I even cook it sometimes at home. And my favorite dish is sinigang. So based off what I tried, the one sinigang that I had that was so good was the smoked pork belly sinigang from Batala, which is in Intramuros. 100% recommend that place. The vibes are so good. It feels so rustic. And then me and my girlfriend had a window seat into the courtyard, which I'll put up here. And it was just so beautiful. Aside from the view, the food was amazing. All the Filipino food we ordered was so good. And if I had to describe it, it was the most pure tasting Filipino food I ever tried, if that makes sense. Like, the flavors were so clear, so pronounced. The sinigang that I had was such a clean broth, and the sourness level was just exactly what I like. And the smoked pork belly on top was charred to perfection. They also had this adobo, which I tried, which was also really good. And I believe it had coconut milk, which I've never had in adobo before. So it wasn't your traditional adobo. So I like that they took Filipino classics and added their own little twists on it. And honestly, that restaurant was amazing. I definitely want to go back there. I saw they also had some drinks on the menu, and one that I really wanted to try but didn't get to try was apparently they have a mulberry cheesecake milkshake. I want to go back just to try that. So definitely recommend Batala if you're in the Philippines and you're in Intramuros. Definitely check it out. Super good. I know there are a lot of other Filipino comfort foods that I didn't get to try, but I did try mainly restaurants, and I would say fast food as well. Of course, we had Jollibee in the Philippines. I would say it's pretty comparable to Jollibee in the United States, so nothing much to say there. But I did try chains such as Mang Inasal. Mang Inasal, I know, is a staple in the Philippines. I never had it in my life until this point, and I can tell you that it is definitely worth the hype. Inasal is grilled chicken, and Mang Inasal is a chain. And this chain serves chicken with rice, basically, and you can get something called unli rice, which is unlimited rice. So they have somebody kind of walking around with a spatula, and they just keep scooping rice out if you raise your hand and ask for it. They also had unlimited sinigang, which I didn't know. That also was just amazing because I love sinigang, obviously. Honestly, the price to this was insane. I think for two people, we spent around 3 to 4 USD, and we got plenty of food, and I was so full. I understand now why people love that place, and I would definitely go back there if I could. Definitely my favorite fast food, if you could call it that, chain that I had while I was in the Philippines. Outside of that, I would say other cuisine that I had, we had some Thai food that was pretty good when we were in Bohol. That was, I forget the name of the restaurant, but that was also really good. And for the last restaurant, I kind of want to highlight, this is kind of the highest end tier that we ate there, which was a Michelin guide restaurant, or Michelin star, I can't remember if it's guide or star, called Hapag. And they actually have a sister location called the Aya Wine Lounge, and my girlfriend reserved that place for my birthday. It was super sweet and super nice. I'd never been to anywhere Michelin rated before, so it was my first time experiencing that, and I gotta say, 100% worth it. The Paris toast, unforgettable. It was this sourdough that was soaked in some sort of soy or some sort of sauce. I forgot what it was. And then they put pares, which is beef cubes, on top with some like red onion and a garlic sauce on top as well. It was so delicious. If I could order 5 of those, I would have just ordered 5 of those, honestly. We also tried their other offerings. They had kind of a deconstructed kare kare, which is kind of like a peanut sauce beef stew dish. That was also pretty good as well. And we had their squid ink pancit, which was really interesting. I would say that it was more so interesting than it was delicious for me personally, but it was something that we'd like to try. And I would definitely recommend recommend Aya Wine Lounge if you want to go to the Philippines and have some sort of celebration or occasion with your partner or just to celebrate. I think it's a really nice atmosphere. The vibe was super nice. It kind of had this old diner aesthetic with like a glass roof on the side, and then you're looking out into the city. Definitely have to make a reservation though, but the reservation fee that you do pay does go towards your final bill, which I confirmed when I checked my bill later. Another quick shout out to a popular market called Salcedo Weekend Market. Me and my girlfriend went there. We were actually expecting it to be more kind of a general purpose market, but it ended up being more of like a farmer's market slash food vendor kind of space. We didn't get to try honestly any of the food there. I would probably go back and try that the next time in the Philippines, but I heard it's really good. Although we did not get to try any food there, we ended up getting like these cute little charms. So I will shout out Salcedo Weekend Market just because I know it's like a super touristy thing, but it was popping. There was a lot of people, a lot of vendors, and if I came on an empty stomach, I probably would have eaten there. Overall, food in the Philippines is amazing. I would definitely recommend you try as many things as possible, but just know that you really can't go too wrong in the Philippines. The one regret I had was not being able to try enough street food. I wish I got to try more of that, but with most restaurants, you will be safe there. Moving on to the second category, I want to talk about shopping. So I'm going to start with the shopping as it pertains to fashion and clothing. In the Philippines, there are a good variety of clothing stores. I would say most of them are pretty similar to the US, such as Zara or Uniqlo. There were some specialty shops that I saw that were owned by Filipinos, and that was kind of what I wanted to gear my shopping towards. I wanted to buy pieces that were made by Filipinos from the Philippines or some Filipino brand, just some sort of relation, because that was kind of the whole reason that I was there. And I saw this one jacket. I can't remember the name of it or the brand, but I'll put it up here. This is a photo of me wearing it. It was kind of this quilted jacket that had like a bunch of different patterns and fabric. I remember talking to the owner and she said that the fabric was actually sourced from a certain region in the Philippines that specializes in this type of fabric. So think of it kind of like a Boro Capital kind of jacket, but like Filipino version. I really loved it. Honestly, the cut was perfect. It fit me really well, but the only thing I did not like about it was the color. I wish the blue was just not this like light blue. It just didn't fit something that I would wear on an everyday basis. It was certainly a standout piece, and thinking about it in hindsight now, if it was in a different color, I probably would have bought it right away. But yeah, it was amazing. It was crafted really well. She said it was all hand sewn, and I thought that was really cool. In addition to that, there were a couple other Filipino brands I tried. to put up some other photos here of other clothes that I tried that were made by Filipino designers, and that's where we come to the clothes I did actually purchase, which I'm actually wearing right now. So this wine red kind of bomber slash zipper jacket in this wine red color was actually made by Francis Labirin, I believe, and he's a designer in the Philippines that designs primarily wedding gowns, but also designed the national uniform for the Philippines Olympic team. I was not expecting to find this, and I saw this in, I believe it was SM Aura towards the end of our trip, and I fell in love immediately. This was an instant buy. I did not care how much it cost. It was on the pricier side, I will say. It was in the $200 to $300 range, but God, the fabric on this thing, the color, the structure, the collar, when you zip it up all the way, it kind of like has this high neck. It was everything I was looking for and more. I do not regret this purchase at all, and I would highly recommend to check out the Biren kiosk in the SM Aura Mall. If you are on the hunt for a cool jacket, definitely check that out. Shopping wise, I did find some other chains that I wouldn't find here or as easily accessible in the States, one of them being Pedro, and I bought this demi maxi bag. Basically, it built a discount when buying in Philippine pesos when I have USD, so I thought it was a no-brainer, and it was made of this really nice leather, and the bag was pretty much comparable in terms of the quality to maybe like a Coach bag, at least from my hand feel, and I've tried Coach bags before. I really love the shape of it, the slouch of it, and everything like that, so I was really happy to pick that up. Yeah, the Philippines in general does have some really good shopping. At first, I was a little skeptical, but maybe that's because I wasn't looking too hard. But when it comes to clothing, there are a lot of, again, Japanese retailers as well. One of them being Atmos, which actually has a coffee bar on the top of the retail store, which was like super interesting, super cool. Honestly, the coffee was pretty mid. Just don't get the coffee. The clothes there were super unique and interesting. I definitely saw some cool pieces that I considered buying but didn't buy. But definitely check out Atmos if you're looking to kind of get more Japanese streetwear aesthetic. Overall, I was pretty satisfied. Even though I didn't come home with like a ton of clothes, I think I definitely got things that I wanted from the retail stores, which will now transition me into thrifting. So thrifting in the Philippines is also really good. It's called Ukay Ukay, and I definitely found a couple spots that I liked to go thrifting. The first that we went to, which I didn't buy from, was called Atomic World, I believe it's called. And it's one that's been all over TikTok. It is really cool because it's designed in kind of like a Y2K aesthetic. So if you like that, definitely go look there. Prices are pretty comparable to what you would see in kind of like a vintage store here in the US. It is more of a curated collection, so don't be expecting like $1 things. It was very much a nice place to be. There's also a photo booth inside, so if you want to take photos, super cool place to take photos. The next place we went to was called Gimme the Loot, which is also all over TikTok. And I would say this is more of kind of like your Second Street consignment luxury secondhand kind of vibe. And that was super cool to look through because they had a lot of pieces and a couple bags and some accessories as well. They had some chrome hearts in there, but man, it was expensive. And I will say that some of the pieces were priced like fairly, but some of them were just completely like even more expensive than the US market. So I would say it's kind of hit or miss when it comes to that store. You kind of got to go in with your expectations and hopefully you'll find something good. I did see some cool things to try on, but I did not pick up anything from Give Me the Loot. Another honorable mention, which is not actually thrifting, but I thought I should mention it here, is there is a store in the Philippines, or two stores really, called Archives Dom FM, and it is basically the Nordstrom rack of the Philippines, if you will. So there is a retail store in the Philippines that sells luxury goods, and they will basically send their overstock to this store where you can get it at a huge discount. That does mean that sizing is kind of limited, but I did get to see a ton of cool stuff in the store, stuff from like Acne Studios and Demille Meester, things like that, like designer pieces, Rick Owens. You will definitely see it here. Definitely check that store out. Just super cool shoes and dresses and accessories and clothes in general. Just a really nice place to just kind of look for cool pieces. Be aware that even with discount, you are looking at like SN sale prices. So we're looking in the hundreds of dollars, definitely. Another thing I wanted to mention was markets. So there are a lot of local markets, kind of like how they are here in the States, where local vendors will come and sell goods and like trinkets and little accessories basically. And one of those that we went to was called Solana Market, and it was in the SM Mall of Asia. And me and my girlfriend were able to go and find some super cute stuff. They were selling some ceramics. I saw some Japanese ceramics. I had some matcha while I was there. Probably the highlight were these. These are Italian charm bracelets. You basically get to customize these. And I believe I paid about 25 USD per bracelet to make it. And it's made of stainless steel, and you get to choose all the charms. I had a really fun time with my girlfriend customizing our own and just having fun with it. I would definitely recommend doing that if you're in the Philippines as well. If you want to go to kind of like one of those markets, there's a ton that do this, but Solana Market was super fun. We even got our picture drawn by an artist there. So yeah, just an overall fun vibe. Lastly, I want to talk about the kind of home decor, home goods kind of market. So if you look, you have to be a little resourceful, but you can definitely find places where they are reselling a lot of overstock or just random ceramics from other places like Japan. And I was able to cop this beautiful vase from basically a flea market in the Philippines. And this costed me $1.70, $2. It was so cheap. And it's massive. It's like the size of my face. It is a Japanese ceramic vase. Definitely put some flowers in this. We also entered into this kind of general goods store in the Rockwell/Powerman Mall. I don't know which one it was, but one of those two. And from there, I found these kind of glass cups, just a really cool, like smoked glass, orange, vintage cup kind of aesthetic. And these are about $6 a piece. So definitely affordable and definitely something I would check out. If you are in that mall, definitely check out. I forget the name of the collective, but it's basically another one of those kind of stores where there's different vendors inside one store and you kind of just browse around and shop as you will. Thrifting clothes in the Philippines, the ukai, super cool. I found a couple things there and they were very relatively priced well. One of those things was this beautiful coat, kind of like this olive green. I think it's like a short coat is what it's called. And that was about $10, I would say, which honestly was actually kind of pricey considering the rest of the stuff in the ukai. Most ukais in the Philippines sell things for about like 100 or 200 pesos, which roughly is like $1.70 to like $3 basically. And you can find everything from like leather bags, shirts. There's like so many clothes. Honestly, if I could go back and do it over again, I would definitely spend at least a day or two digging through everything, but I did not have enough time to look through all the just racks and racks of clothes. There's just so much. So definitely if you are into that thrifting vibe and want to get a good deal, you can definitely pick up probably an entire outfit for under $10 if you really want to. I'm talking like bags, top, bottom, accessories, everything for probably under $10 if you really spend your time searching. Check out the ukai. Definitely will say the shopping scene in the Philippines was very surprising in a good way for me. I even saw some stores I'd never even seen in the States. One of those being Carhartt Whip or Work in Progress. And they had these beautiful cardigans. They're actually women's wear, but there were these cardigans. I'll point them up here. Super cute, but they did not have my size and I didn't pick up anything. But yeah, I was surprised by the selection of stores in the Philippines. If you really do some digging, you can find some special Filipino designers. You can find thrift stores. You can find all those things in the Philippines. You just got to know where to look. And hopefully I've pointed you guys kind of in a general direction and you can definitely do your due diligence to look for that. With that out of the way, let's move on to the last category, which is experiences. I'm going to kind of lump in things that aren't food and shopping, but that you usually have to pay for, and also things that are just a nice sightseeing thing. So to start it off, we're going to start with Intramuros. I would say Intramuros as a whole is an experience you should definitely check out if you're in the Philippines. I would definitely recommend it because it has such a historical vibe to it and just has a really nice atmosphere in general. Just the architecture and everything really transports you to a different place. Honestly, when I was there, I felt like I was in Europe. Cobblestone streets, fountains, you're talking about that kind of vibe. If you want a good photo op, definitely go to Intramuros. Definitely check out Batala, like I said, and try out some other local local food vendors over there, or restaurants if you can. There was things like the horse carriage ride, things like that. Like we didn't do those, but I definitely saw a lot of people doing that. And it is very touristy there, I will say, but I think it's definitely worth it for the pictures. As you can see, it was very, very nice. There's a tour you can take there where it'll take you to different historical sites within Intramuros itself, and that's definitely worth the look. Now, across from Intramuros, actually, there is the National Museum of Fine Arts from the Philippines, and this was a free museum. I think a lot of the museums in that area actually are free, and it was beautiful. Honestly, I've never seen Filipino artists in a kind of historical context like that, where the paintings were done in a more Western way, and it was beautiful. It is pretty large, I would say. It's about 3 or 4 floors. We actually went almost during closing, so within an hour, we kind of rushed through everything and were able to make it. But I would say you'd probably want to spend about 2 hours here, just kind of looking through. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're into art, then I would definitely check it out. There's tons of cool sculptures, paintings, just a ton of things. But I saw this mural that was beautiful. I mean, it was like stretching all the way around me, like a 180-degree field view, and it basically depicted the entire history of the Philippines, and it was amazing. It was gorgeous. Like, I was honestly mind blown when I saw it because of just the sheer scale and size of the mural. Like, I can't imagine the amount of work that went into that. Aside from that, we also went to Manila Ocean Park, which is basically an aquarium that is also attached to kind of a terrarium, if you would say, indoor terrarium, I don't know, outdoor terrarium. Basically, there's like a water version, which is like all of the aquarium stuff, all the fish and the sea animals. And then there's like a more land animal focused section that has birds and things of that nature. So we did both of those. We only paid for one ticket, but we got both things. I believe it was around $30-ish USD, if I'm not mistaken. And for that price, we were able to enter and basically spend as much time as we wanted. It was super cool. My girlfriend's really into going to places like that. And so we had a great time walking around and checking out all the animals. There was a lot of cool things that I saw. They had stingrays inside one of those kind of tunnels where they kind of go over your head. Yeah, that was super sick. There was a giant crocodile, alligator. I've never seen an alligator or I don't know which one is which. That was probably 20 feet long. It was massive. It would definitely eat me alive. We also saw a ton of birds. Super cool. I think something interesting that I found about that particular zoo / aquarium was that when you go to the zoo area, you kind of walk through these cages where the animals are just kind of allowed to roam free. And I feel like in the States, I've never seen that. Like, usually they're behind some sort of enclosure where you can't touch them or you're not supposed to. And yet here, you're basically walking through all these cages that have birds and reptiles in them. So you could just reach, like, they're right there. There's nothing stopping you from touching them. And there's nothing stopping them from touching you. So I was a little nervous, but it was super cool to kind of walk through this just large enclosure, basically, where the animals are allowed to just kind of roam free a little bit. So definitely recommend that if you're into that kind of thing. Additionally, I would say one of the experiences that was super memorable on the trip was New Year's. So this, again, caveat, this is not normal for like any time of the year, definitely specific to New Year's, but the Philippines loves celebrating New Year's and they love fireworks. Like, they honestly, maybe a little bit of a con. Fireworks are going on from midnight all the way up until like the next morning at 6 a.m., like all night. If you do not like loud noises, definitely choose somewhere that's not in the city because they will continually just blast fireworks all night long. That being said, we got to go to a basically free concert in Makati, which was for the entire city. Even us just visiting there, staying in Makati, we were able to basically sign up. And actually, we didn't even need to sign up. We just need to walk in, basically. So we walked in, had our potato corner and everything, and we just sat there and got to ring in the New Year together. It was super sick, super sweet. And I had such a great time just being there and just experiencing this. It was like a less crowded, more local version of what you consider like a New York City, like Times Square ball drop kind of vibe. And it was super unique and super fun. And I definitely appreciated that. Another experience that you would typically go to the Philippines for is definitely the more tropical island beach hopping vacation. However, we did go to Bohol, which is a separate island, and we were planning on doing a lot of those kind of beach activities, but unfortunately one of us got sick and we were not able to go out and do that as freely as we wanted to. And we only had like 3 days there. I will hopefully go back to the Philippines and experience more of that kind of island hopping beach vacation vibe next time. But from what I just saw in general, the beaches in the Philippines are beautiful. I mean, this was the whole atmosphere there. There was a ton of restaurants just on the beach, on the sand. You can just get some food and just watch the sunset. It was honestly really, really nice. The water was not too cold. It was pretty warm and it was pretty clean as well. In addition to that, as the sun set, we got a nice little surprise, lightning. We saw lightning in the background in the distance. It was super cool. Definitely an unforgettable moment. Just like seeing the storm clouds and the lightning off in the distance, but not being rained on or anything. It was such a cool experience that just happened randomly. I think it's just because of the season we were in, and maybe not many people would like that, but I thought it was a really cool thing. And yeah, our experience out there in Bohol was really nice. We just ate a couple things and went around a little. But yeah, nature wise, I would say I want to go back and do more hikes and things like that of that nature. We didn't really get to experience that part of the Philippines as much because of the area that we were in and the confines that we had with our trip. At times that I was out in the province or out in Bohol definitely were super memorable to me. Just being out in nature was so refreshing and so nice. So if you do want to go to the Philippines and experience just the lush greenery of everything and the nature that it has to offer, I would definitely highly recommend it. I will talk a little bit now about the cons. Mind you, again, a lot of this stuff was personal to me and also to the season that I was traveling in, but Traffic in Manila specifically is bad. The Philippines really just has a traffic issue in general. That's coming from somebody that was born and raised in LA. I thought LA traffic was bad. The Philippines traffic was 10 times worse. Trust me. I would definitely not rent a car if I ever went to the Philippines. I would probably just use Grab, which is their version of Uber, because I just could not imagine driving there and being patient enough to wait in those really congested areas. Another con was, for some reason, digital payment works sometimes. So I would say it's kind of like a 50-50 dice roll sometimes. Like, your card will work. I was able to set up some things through the internet, and yet when I went to the Philippines to kind of, let's say, reload my data balance for my eSIM, it would just not work. So I was really confused as to why that was, but that kind of sucked because I wasn't able to have data for most of the trip. But I guess it's kind of a benefit since I was more aware of my surroundings and I got to enjoy the experience for what it was fully. But yeah, just be aware, if you're going to use your card for most things, it will work. I would say if you plan on just going to malls and restaurants and attractions that you can book online, you are safe to just use your card. You don't really need cash. But if you are going to go to kind of these smaller markets and the thrift stores, you need cash 100%. I was able to pull out cash from ATMs pretty much anywhere I went with my specific bank. Payment there kind of sucks. A third thing which I found really weird was stocks. And by stocks, I mean like the stocking of not only items when it came to buying and shopping things, but even food. For some reason, me and my girlfriend would show up to a restaurant as soon as it opened, ask for their front page menu item, and they would tell me that they were out. And we both would look at them like, what do you mean you're out? Like, you guys just opened. I don't know if this is something that's just unique to the Philippines or if it was just that restaurant in general. But even outside that restaurant, I definitely ran into issues with stores as well, saying that they were out of stock, even though I had just been there like a day or two before. So I really don't know if it's just the item that I wanted is just gone or like they don't carry that much stocks. I'm not really sure. It was very emotional for me being there, knowing that that's where my parents came from and everything they worked so hard to kind of get away from. But I'm very, very thankful, very blessed that I was even able to go back. I was able to kind of experience what their life kind of was like. And it really just made me understand more how grateful I am. But also, I kind of had this weird feeling where I kind of mourned the future that I could have had if that, I know that sounds weird, but it's just kind of like the fact that I felt like, you know, this was a place that I had heritage to and something that I share a lot of commonality with the culture and the people and the food. It made me feel really sad when I left because although it is a place that is still a work in progress and definitely has a lot to offer, I feel that it's something that I definitely want to revisit and a place that I want to go back to. The Philippines is awesome, super friendly people, treat the people there well, and really understand that they are all doing everything that they can. As a whole, as a traveler, the Philippines is definitely a place you should visit, definitely a place that has a lot to offer and a lot to explore. Even for me, I was there for 3 weeks and yet I still have more that I want to go back and see. With that, I will say thank you guys for watching and follow me for more fashion, travel, shopping, home decor related content. I'm going to try to post more this year, fingers crossed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.